Good evening, Martin County. This is the Martin County Business Exchange, McBiz.us, Wednesday night show.
Right.
This is John Campion, your co-host, with world-famous Frank Mezzapel. I can never let it go, Frank.
I know it. You're too funny.
To honor Lee Carroll, who's usually co-hosting, he's known as Big Frank. And today we are blessed to have the
another big guy in the house.
The big guy, the sage,
right.
The patriarch of
Yes.
the Martin County Business Exchange, Pete Navarrete.
Hello.
Hello. Testing.
Testing.
Lighthouse Wealth Management Group under the whole heading of UBS
Right.
Financial.
Yes.
And Pete has got like 95 consecutive years in the industry, right?
Yeah, going on 96. Yeah.
Exactly.
Pete is very well known in
and
the
well preserved.
welcome, Pete.
It's that pickle jar that does it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here, and
I love it. It's great.
So we're, we don't have to try to make you laugh like Michelle Narson, Dr. Narson last week, but we did get her to giggle.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That's good.
So,
that's good.
But hey, here we are, and we've got all kinds of different things we can talk about.
Sure.
Pete is one of these guys who is really tied into, his customer base is huge, but they're tell us a little bit about your company, and then we can get into some other things.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I have to say hello to a couple of people.
Oh, yeah, please do.
I know.
Yeah.
Guys that I meet at, Panera's every morning and this type of thing. Mike is up there, and Bill and Betty and Ivan. So, hi, guys, if you're listening.
Bill, Betty, Mike, and Ivan.
Ivan, yes.
Yes.
Is he Ivan the Great?
Ivan's the great, yeah.
Okay.
We have an Ivan the Knoll who's in our Kiwanis Club. Yes.
Well, one thing I need to say,
Yes.
it's U-B.
Yes. As in Baker.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have so many people, I say,
Yeah, where's your brown outfit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you drive?
Yeah.
Did I say
No,
that too
no.
quick?
No. Most people
No, they'll
just
ask me,
don't.
yeah.
They mishear.
Are you
Yes.
a driver?
I get that mixed up with USBs that go in the computer.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
Well, that would be perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
You can rename those devices, and then you're all set.
Now, locating my office is fairly simple. 'Cause
Yes.
We give this plug every time I'm on
Right,
this
to a
this
non-member,
program.
by the way.
Non-member.
I know.
Park Pharmacy,
Right.
East Ocean Boulevard, with the next building right next to Eddie Justice Park Pharmacy that's been here since
Right.
as long as I have.
Right.
So his father owned
So
that
95
business.
going on 96 years.
Exactly.
Yes, okay. Yes.
Exactly.
and that's right across from St. Mary's.
It is
Yes.
indeed.
Yes, it is.
Directly across from St. Mary's.
So we're in a
It's
good
great.
spot.
You got a church, and then you got a hospital.
Exactly.
So if
So-
things start,
So if the financial thing doesn't work out too well, you can.
if the pharmacy
Yes,
doesn't work,
right.
you're over there praying like to the Dickens.
Yes, right.
Very, very short
That's
walk for
perfect.
treatment. It's
That's like me. I got an old cemetery next to me. That doesn't work
well,
for
that's
me.
perfect.
But you have quiet neighbors.
People are dying to get in there. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Anyways,
But,
sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
We digress.
It was interesting. Last week you had Dr. Narson on,
We did.
and she's pretty interesting as far as how she gets into the health thing and starting from the core and
Yeah.
working your body
Functional
and this
medicine.
type of thing.
Yeah,
Well, my
exactly.
little thing this morning was based on that
It was. Yeah.
because one of the things that I thought was really important to people's physical health is their financial health.
It's amazing.
And-
There's a tie. There's a
Oh,
go together.
I think so, but
Yeah.
everybody has their own opinion of that. But to achieve the financial health, you have to start taking care of your finances at the same length of time you're taking care of your body, and you can't all of a sudden wait till you're 95 years old and say, I think I'll go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we can talk about relative to that, and I'm sure that there's my client base. Just to paraphrase what John said, my client base is probably from 50 years old,
All right.
maybe 45 all the way up to 90, because I've had clients that were 45 years old when I first started, and I've been doing this for 34 years. So
there it is.
I've seen them go through the whole thing, which is good in a
Right.
way.
So how does a 90-year-old plan for the future?
Not too carefully.
Okay, not too carefully.
Have a lot of fun.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's a funny
Yeah.
thing about in my business.
Yeah.
What the question I get asked the most, and And sometimes it's said, in jest and this type of thing. One of my clients will call me and say, I'm out of money yet?
Right.
Don't let me run out of money. Well, when you boil that down, that's one of the things you want not to happen.
Right. You don't want to run out of money before.
So
you don't want to run out of time before you run out of money. Yeah.
How do you achieve that?
Right.
So that all starts with the planning and the ongoing planning.
Right.
I've had clients for 30 years that I've been extending their plan.
Right.
Because that financial plan that we did originally, on one piece of paper, has now grown and includes an estate plan and a trust plan, for grandchildren, for health plan, which is the other big thing nowadays.
Oh.
I mean,
Boy,
health planning is huge.
Sucks your resources.
So, but how do you
It
combat
sucks.
that?
Yeah.
You do some of the things that Dr. Narson was talking about, but it also helps if you have your financial house in order. You seem to feel better about things.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with
it's
you
a,
on
it's a
that.
big
As
stress
things-
reliever,
things
isn't it?
go.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I brought up, and I want to offer it out there, is that there's some apps, now that everyone's on the computer.
There's an
some
app for that.
really good apps for 3 or 4 subject areas that I run into all the time.
Okay.
For people that are approaching retirement, staying on the job if you want to work afterwards, staying connected with your family, because that's one of the things that can really make people a little bit sad. They've moved away,
Right.
now their family is way far away and they don't have that connection. And here's ways you can do that. Staying mobile, how do you get traveling around? All of a sudden they say you can't drive anymore, and now you're going, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now what I do?
Right.
And then, machines that monitor your health, house stuff. I have this brochure
It's an
that I have in
incredible
front of me.
booklet.
Yeah.
Yes, you were nice enough to hand it out to all of us this morning.
It
at
was put
breakfast.
together by MIT Age Lab, which is the Massachusetts Institute of Technology,
Right.
in connection with Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
And they put this together, and they have all of the apps that you could go through and try and use and this type of thing, and some notes in the back and so on and so forth. If anybody would like one of these, I have a bunch of them in my office that I ordered to hand out to the business club this morning.
Right.
But I have 30, 40 additional ones.
Okay.
Be great if you want one. I'll send it to you.
Right. Better yet, come right by the office and visit with you. With a
Yeah,
cup
I'll
of
give you
coffee
my
and-
phone number,
Right.
and I'll give you this phone number here, and then
Right.
if they want to call, they can get one. My phone number is 772-223-6639.
Okay. Now,
That's
if people are just getting out their Crayolas, it's
772-223-6639.
yes.
That's directly into my
6639.
office.
All
It's
right.
not through the front office. It's directly in mine.
Right.
If I'm not there, just say, Pete, I would like one of those brochures you talked
Here's
about.
my address.
Here's my address.
And no one will call. No one will bother.
No,
them.
after
Right.
that, you're
Right.
on your own. If you want to
Right.
contact me afterwards and say hello and thank you, you could do that. But I'm not really into that right now.
Right. You just want to just get that information out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can call the station while we're here.
Right.
And it's
77
220
Right.
WSTU
Or
or
9788 if you're alpha.
9788
Right.
when you're using a rotary, right?
If you're alphanumeric. If
Rotary
you're
or-
alphanumerically challenged, it's
or
9788.
calling calling on your princess phone.
Yes, but you don't. Yeah, they actually still have the letters even on the
yeah.
touch tone phones.
But they
Yes.
look a lot bigger on
Yeah.
this
Oh
one.
yeah, I need the big letters.
Yeah, right, right.
Pete, can I make a comment about this? What's really
Sure.
cool is this is
Sure, why not? It's your show.
No,
go
it's
ahead.
not. No, it's not. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I just want to tell you that this has got 5 comprehensive sections
Yes.
that will aid our aging in place people, or anybody for that matter, giving you a lot of great ideas on these apps. And
Or things that you may have thought about and forgotten, and this is
didn't
just
even know
a
they
good
were-
reminding primer.
yeah, I think it's very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And when I received it, I said, this is really neat. Everybody gave it to us, said, this is really neat. So
It is,
I'd be glad to provide as many as needed.
Okay, so
one of-
220-9788 if you want to call the radio
You know,
station.
so-
Operators are standing by, and they sound a lot like me.
Don't delay. Call today.
Or you can call Pete directly at his office at...
772-223-6639.
Excellent. All right.
There's one thing I'd like to mention that I did this morning, and really becoming really important for those of you out there that are using computers for lots of different things. Just remember, every time you join something or you go on some type of website, you know, and they ask you for a password, and you put that in there,
Right.
just remember that you're going to have to, might have to get into those if anything happened to you.
Yes, I
So-
thought about that.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a whole sector now on estate planning for digital assets.
Digital
This
assets.
is digital assets, which are, you know, you might have bank accounts, checking accounts, all with
Online
these
banking.
passcodes.
Right, yeah.
You have to make sure that and let's say you had a trust or a will or this type of thing, but you had all these other things. Make sure that inside that document, you're giving permission for somebody to enter those, and make sure that you have the passwords in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's some apps now you can use to keep track of them and so on and so forth, but it's become a really big estate planning type thing that we hear about all the time. So I just wanted to mention that.
Sure.
And
Thank you. Yes.
when you're out there and you're opening up all those various things,
Yeah.
you know, make sure that you have a way of letting people know, the people that you want.
So they can gain access.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of like one of those things, you know, for estate planning and so on and so forth. So just a reminder. Just a reminder.
Yeah,
out there.
that's because as things are supposedly getting simpler and faster and easier, it seems like they're getting more complicated on the other hand as well.
Well, you know, a lot of the places, you know, even our office. I mean, we used to send out, you know, a monthly statement,
Right.
and now we ask basically the client, "Would you like to go paperless?"
Yeah. Save
Well,
a tree.
That that requires you to do something. You got to put in a code. You got to. Now, who else knows that?
Right.
Okay, I mean, I'm the financial advisor, and I don't know that code.
Right.
So, but if they lost it and need it, they call you
I could do
guys
it
and
paper.
you
I can pull it up in another way.
Right.
But to access their account on their computer, I can't do that.
Right.
You know, I can access their account on mine. You know, but it's different if
Right.
you're having somebody that wants to enter.
If
it
they
and stuff.
forgot their, because usually you have your username, or let's say it's your email,
You know,
then you have your
password,
password.
right.
So if they forgot their password, they can click on it and you
there's
will
there's
send
a
them
number. There's a number.
Okay,
We try to keep it out of.
your office.
Yeah, so there's a special number you can call, and they'll go through the whole thing with you. You don't have to give your password, you know, some other kind of codes, you know, your first
Right.
pet and all that other kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they'll give it to you. But it's when something happens to someone. There's some cases that have just come up where a person passed away, and they were, you know, fairly wealthy, and had a number. It was over 22 different of these accounts
Yeah.
all over, and they no one in their executor or the trustees could enter these. Okay, first of all, they didn't find half of them. Then they couldn't get into them because there's some disclaimers on the ends of those programs that don't allow you entrance. You know, unless you have the password, you just can't call up and say, "Oh, it was my uncle," you know, and
Yeah.
I'm the executor. So that's great, you know, and not so great.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever you want to
That's
say.
great.
but-
Do you know the password?
yeah, no.
Oh.
Well, you're gonna, and so now it's
Yeah.
in the courts.
Yeah.
So what the attorneys are saying now, and I imagine they have this all sectored out, is that, you know, make sure that's a part of your plan when you go and you do a trust or a will or this type of thing. You know, but how do you keep that up to date? That's going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's just something I thought was pretty interesting
It
as far
is.
as,
Yeah.
you know, finances go and so on and so
We are
forth.
getting more digitally connected, and so you have
Yeah.
to pay attention to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you make a good point.
Sure. So, you know, I hope people get one of these things in their hands. It's pretty useful. Other than that, okay, I can switch hats now and talk
Right.
about the markets and the finances.
The
and,
Can I
Markets,
make
yeah.
a comment? I know
Yes.
nobody likes to hear me talk, but
No.
I just want to tell you, you know, a couple years ago we went through all this when my parents both passed away.
yes.
And fortunately, my mom was very, very organized. She kept record of everything from the beginning.
Excellent.
And about every 4 or 5 years, she'd hand us each an envelope, which was updating everything.
Yes.
And they passed away 2 years ago, and I didn't open those till about 2 months ago. But since then, of course, my brother and I were the executors on the whole thing. And
Right.
I've told many of my friends who haven't gone out and got their, whether they haven't
their
at
planning,
this point
yeah.
established their financial stuff or they're doing the wills
Right.
and trust. And as we're getting up there, up there,
Sure.
60, you're at a point where,
No, it's-
especially a lot of our friends own businesses, and you gotta take care of it, and you just have to do it. People don't want to.
Well, John, we've our business is like I've told you at the beginning. We base everything on financial plan, and part of that financial plan is just what you're saying. We just want to make sure that the people sitting in front of us have these things, taken care of. So we have this kind of a checklist, and it deals with their financial health, and that's part of it. What you're saying right there. Do you have everything in order? Do you have a will? Do you have this? Do you have that? And where is it? And whose names are on it? And all of these things. Who are your beneficiaries? It takes a while before you even talk about investing.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing, and not a funny thing, but that's that's part of it.
It's a fact of life, man.
The investing almost seems to be the
last
say okay.
Well,
let's talk
let
about
me ask you this then too: is when somebody out there is considering working with a financial investor, and it took me many years. I won't get into it, but this whole thing with my folks kind of triggered where some of us in the family ended up going.
Sure.
What would you tell people who are intimidated by it? Well, how much money do you have to have? Is there obviously certainly some financial advisors we want you to start out with a certain a minimum. Is that an unfair
John,
question to ask you?
No, it's not unfair, John. I'm going to say something because it's
Get out of here, John. Leave now.
No.
sorry.
No. You're absolutely right. And I think that has been the worst thing that I've ever seen happen to any industry. And I can tell you this, and the reason, I'm going to be honest with you,
Sure.
the reason that some of these firms have done that, they don't want to compensate the financial advisors for a small account. What they basically say to you, if you want to handle it, that's your business. I told my team, I said, I do not ever want anybody turned down, regardless of the amount of money they have. I don't care who they are, or what they are, or what they do. I do not want them I want them sitting in my office. Okay? And what we can do at that point is let them know what the costs are. And if I say to them, look, this is not a good fit for a lot of different reasons, I will refer them to some place that is.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
And here's the other thing that I've started way early in my career. I had people who'd call me up and say, Pete, I've got this 401k plan, but I put it together and it was with this company, and they never contact me, and
I don't know
and
what's
that,
going on. Yeah.
Can you help me? And
Yeah.
I have a file in my office. There must be 100 of them in there.
Well,
I don't have those 401k plans at my facility, but I have them there. Okay, and all that person
so
had
you're
to
just
do.
keeping tabs on it for your client.
Yeah. Well, they're not even my clients.
Yeah, you might have advised them and looked at it at one point.
I looked at it, and they send me their quarterly statements. And of course, they always ask me, "What do you charge for this?" I'm not. I just can't do that. You need help, fine. I've got the time, fine. I'll help you go along with this. But here's the interesting thing that happened with that, and I didn't really realize it until it started to happen. Once those 401k plans were with companies, and once these people retired, they said, "Can you still handle my plan?" Well, now it's different. Now they roll it over to an IRA. Yeah. And all of a sudden I said, well, that's a nice service to have.
Yeah.
What's it really costing me? Nothing. Just my time. I could do that. So send me your statement. I'll take a look at it. Other firms would tell a financial advisor, don't do that because that's selling away. It's a funny, odd term. At selling away. So what I really do is I'm giving them some secrets. I really don't tell them exactly what to invest in. I just look at their allocation and tell them what to change. Okay, which is a big thing right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
which is a big thing, huge thing right now. Huge thing right now. I mean, when you start talking about the markets and you look at, we've had 8 years of, good things going on. And I tell people, if you're looking at your accounts now, they should have at least doubled. On the investment stock market side, not the bond market, the stock market side, should have at least done that. Now the question is, what inning are we in?
Right.
As far as the markets goes, I think we're about in the 7th. Okay, so
So-
is it
And you're talking
Should
about
you be- should you-
talking about the ninth inning being the correction.
right?
Okay.
So what you have on there, and it's massive, is the unrealized gains that are in these accounts. Huge unrealized gains. In other words, the appreciation is taking place, but it's just on paper.
Right.
When do you start taking that, okay, and putting it somewhere so you can have it or live again or this type of thing? I think the time is now.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating, well, you sell everything. That's not it. But you got to remember that amount of money that you made, that's not yours until you take it. But if you take it, then what you have left is your original investment.
Right.
So you're playing with house money. That's great. So you have to start looking at that a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. So, that's something that I think lots of people ought to look at.
All right. Very good. Okay. Well,
We're going to take a little break, Frank.
we are indeed, and then when we come back, we're going to visit.
Catch
with-
our breath.
Yes, we'll visit with Pete and learn more about what's going on. And as we go out on break, I'm going to share some this day in history with you. And we'll listen to the theme music from Back to the Future, because that's kind of, when you talk about finances, a little bit like Back to the Future, right?
Yes.
So on this day in history, back in, when was this? This was, come on.
Pete's
There it is,
birthday?
1809.
Oh, okay.
Astronauts not astronaut, rather, 1809 aeronaut Jean-Pierre Blancard was the very first person to make an aerial voyage in the New World, and he died at the age of 56.
How did he do that?
Well, they said he just kind of ran out of gas.
Okay.
So,
Well, 59 is pretty good for that year.
all right, and we'll be right back.
You're so silly.
All right, now it's time for today's Southeast AgNet Report, brought to you by Everglades Farm Equipment, a family-owned business for the past 50 years with 10 Florida locations, including Fort Pierce, Okeechobee, and Loxahatchee. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All right, I can cheat.
All right.
We're back.
Yeah, so what are we listening to, John?
This is the theme song to Dennis the Menace from 1959.
Exactly right. Good job.
Do you remember when you used to set PJ down in front of the TV and say, just be quiet, we'll call you when it's dinner time?
Exactly.
Good old Mr. Wilson.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Isn't
Oh,
that crazy? That's
That's really something.
That's one of the things Frank and I like to do. We I guess we were those type of kids.
Right.
but
Children of the 60s.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
But hey,
50s and
we're back.
60s,
Let's
yeah.
see. What was the first? What would be a really good investment show back from the day?
Oh God, I don't even know what there was an investment show back then.
No, I
I
really
can't
think they
remember.
would
No,
even-
you had 3
The
channels.
Price is Right.
Yeah.
That was an investment
Name that
show.
tune.
Yeah. How many years has Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune been
That's
on? right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Those are
that's-
all financial shows.
Right.
Yeah, they are. You
Yeah,
know, it's
I
the luck
guess.
of the draw.
I
Well,
guess.
you know. Well, I will tell you. The other thing you made a comment is, and I'm not saying that that's changed things for me, but it did give me a probably less of a concerned outlook. Is when my folks, I was talking about them earlier.
Right.
Things were, you know, I felt better after
Yes.
it was over. I mean, obviously we miss them, but their planning taught me a big lesson.
I can't tell. Well, the nice thing. Yeah, it is a nice thing. I like when you do it for as long as I have, and I'm in my 34th year, I believe, somewhere in there. You know, I've seen your parents, John, like that plan all the way through.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said this morning, you can see the ones that do it correctly or pretty well correctly, and the ones that do not. And it's sad when you see that.
Yeah.
You know, it's really sad when you see that. And the best advice doesn't go anywhere. So I just encourage people all the time to, you know, to take care of their financial health, you know, as well as their physical health.
Right.
Because, you know, the thing is happening now. Who was I talking to? I guess this doctor, client of mine, and he was telling me, he said he thinks that the person that's going to live to be 150 has already been born.
Has already been born.
I
Yeah. I
just
think, yeah.
I just looked at him and you know, you go. So imagine trying to talk to that person about retirement at 65.
Right.
It isn't going to work.
No.
So
Yeah.
lots of the things that are going to go on.
So basically,
Just
at
think about it.
Wow, yeah. So
Another
you have to be
90 years.
90 years old to be.
Well, just think about the interesting things that are going to happen as a
Right.
result of Social Security
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
you know, all those types of
Right.
things. So you're going to see those adjustments take place. You know, I'm never going to be around, but I mean, they're going to have to take place because that's going to happen,
Right.
and it's happening now.
Yeah.
You know, it's happening now.
Well, I like the notion of 85 being the middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, when
Yeah.
you think about that,
Yeah.
it's with health.
Sure. Anything's
and,
possible.
Yeah, and with the things that are going on, it's probably going to still be a big cost, which is probably the biggest thing people have to plan
Right.
on now. And I think that's the one that is not really looked at close enough. That they you know, how do you tell a younger person that you need to plan for when you get sick? That's a hard thing to say.
Right. Because
You know, but
yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course it is.
and you know, this care program for the elderly is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you know, the expenses keep on obviously having to go up. So the planning has to take place a lot earlier, and like I said, that's the biggest concern when we do financial planning is that, you know, we ask them that question, and boy, you know, it's just silence. Because it's not something you really want to talk about, but it's something that you need to talk about, and planning for that earlier is a lot less expensive than waiting till later. You know,
Yeah.
and there's some new and different things that are going on now that I think are pretty attractive. You know, that you can do, but it's one of those things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and it's you have to talk about it, but it's not one of those things you want to talk about.
You know, one of the strange things we noticed when my wife and I were driving around, and I've come back and told her, is you see the all the new what do you call it, facilities going up.
Yeah, housing.
Oh.
For
Yeah,
the
housing.
you know, the
Yeah.
Right.
facilities, you know, we've had a lot of them, and driving around. I won't
yeah.
won't mention it, and I'm not, you know, I mean, hey, we got to take care of our elderly, but it's
Right.
just, it's a sign of what's going on of down here in Florida. I'm sure it's other places,
Oh,
but
it's all
almost
over.
like,
So it's what I was saying is that if you're approaching your your late 50s and this
Right.
type of thing, and
Right.
you want to retire and you want to enjoy yourself, or you want to still work and retire, and that type of thing, which is a great thing to do, keeps
Yes.
you healthy.
Yes.
But you have to take that into consideration, and that's a big part of what we kind of try to do, and at least bring it up to the forefront so you can deal with it. Whether you do anything about it that's your choice, but at least you're starting to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, Japan has an issue. Their population is aging, and there's not enough young people to take the place of the seniors.
Yeah,
the
well,
geriatrics.
they had that thing for years where they didn't want you to have children.
Right now they got a
There's a
problem.
limitation.
Right now they've got a problem because now all the seniors are aging out, and there's nobody behind them. So what they're doing is they're developing and considering using robots to take care of the seniors because there's nobody at home to take care of
Do you know that's happening in this country as well?
Yeah, but I mean, but Japan is pioneering
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
that we're kind of diddling around the edges with it,
Right.
learning it. But the Japanese, they're doing it because out of necessity. So they're jumping in with both feet.
they have Toto.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Toto too.
Toto toilets.
Yes.
Toto washlets. Toto
Exactly.
everything. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
and there's, there's a robot taking care of you, helping you stay clean, and
Yeah, well, it's
that's
funny.
another discussion one
Yeah,
day.
clean up
Sorry,
your
Pete.
act.
How the
Yeah,
hell-
yeah,
How
no,
do we get into Totos with you?
Yeah,
on the
Well,
show?
I'll tell you
we
how.
digressed
here.
again.
I'll tell you how we got into it. When you go back to this
It's on
book,
your sheet,
it
isn't
tells
there?
you that there's certain things that you can do to machines that monitor your health.
Yes.
And there's 9 or 10 apps in here that are pretty neat, actually. And so, again,
Yeah.
if anybody wants this, just call and we'll get you one. But that's a big thing.
Yes,
That's
it
a big
is.
thing.
And if you're thinking about companies to invest in,
Well, that's the other
that-
thing.
right? So you can kind of
You know,
double dip a little bit here.
Well, when you look out there now, you hit a couple things on the head. If
Yes.
you're looking at investments, for example,
Forward-looking things.
I
yes.
mean, there's a and I said this to the business club about almost a year ago, and I gave them the call letters, and I thought that they should take a look at this. Well, it's doubled since then, but so obviously nobody did it except me.
Way to
but,
go, Pete.
But it was an index,
Okay.
and the call letters on that are ROBO.
Robo.
Right.
Mhm.
It's all of the robotic industries.
Wow.
Okay, small ones, big ones, you name it. Every one that's there, they're in there. Okay, and that index has really increased as it's
I
gone
bet
up.
so.
And there's another one on the other side, which is dealing with all of the various stem cell companies that are out there now that are working
Right.
in that area. Those two areas are tremendous growth areas.
And imagine work
You
with
know.
genes and gene splicing. That's another.
Yeah. Now those companies.
That's going to
are-
go hand in hand with this aging longer.
It's also going
Yes.
hand in hand with robotics.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Because the robotic situation now, with some of the things they're doing medically, can do things that we can't do.
Right.
With precision that we can't do yet. So that's going to be there. So we start talking about investing, and now we're talking about investing for the future. And there you are, some young people out there. And I'm not saying they have to be really young, but are looking for things to invest in, and they can't. They invest in themselves if they're in business. I understand that.
Right.
But when you start looking, at your retirement program, where are the things that I should be looking at, that are going to go on in the future? We know technology is going to continue in
Right.
some way, shape, or form. But the interesting thing is, how do you invest in that whole area of technology? Do you go and pick one? Better
Yeah.
hope you're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you don't
it's
have
a
to
little bit
do
like
that.
using a dartboard, isn't it?
With the advent
Yeah.
of ETFs, exchange traded funds that trade on the exchange, you can buy a technology index, which is done very well. It has all the big boys in it. Every technology stock that's in the S&P 500 is in that sleeve, and you can invest in just that sleeve, just one thing, and you own all of it. So it's a great way, to look at investments and say, no, which one should I get? Should I buy this company, that company, this company? No. What you do is you take a look at those sleeves,
Right.
and there's usually about 10 of them representing 10 different sectors of the market, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to do financials, which I think is another thing to take a look at, you can buy the financial sleeve. By
Are
just
these
one.
index funds, Pete?
Some of them are managed index funds and some of them are not.
Okay.
But the ones I'm talking about, the simplistic ones, are, those are indexes, but indexes to the point where they've taken the S&P 500 and took all of the companies in a certain segment and put them in an index. So rather than do the whole S&P 500, you can do portions of it. So, and it's a very inexpensive way, to really capture a big part of the market of things that are going on now. So, I encourage people, if you haven't taken a serious look at the ET exchange traded fund world, that is a great place to go. It's a great place to look because there's lots and lots of good ones out there that are doing a tremendous job.
We had talked in our executive group within our business group about, which I didn't know anything about, AI, artificial intelligence, and Eric Keene from C&W Computer is, he's our techno guru in our
Yes.
group and way ahead of a lot of us because he's ahead of the curve. So, that has I'd never even heard of that.
AI.
Now I catch it
Sure.
so many
Right.
places.
Now with AI, they're talking about what they call the singularity. Do you know what that is?
No,
Singularity is when the artificial intelligence will meet up to or begin to exceed beyond human intelligence.
taken over.
And where they say we're maybe 3 to 5 years away from that event taking place. So there's a little pause.
Freaking
for
me
thought
out,
for
Frank.
you.
That's
Yeah.
hard to think about.
Right?
Well, maybe the Tigers should get one of these artificial designated hitters on their team so your team can get to the World Series.
Yes.
What are you doing? What are you queuing up here?
I'm queuing up a telephone ringing sound. Why not?
Ooh, a rotary phone.
Yeah, there you go, rotary phone. All right, so we're just having some fun with sounds.
Well, that's. I remember back in the day in my sales life, I used to know where all the drive-up phone booths were.
On this day in history, Alexander Graham Bell in 1876 was granted a patent for the telephone.
1876.
1876.
It's not very long ago.
No.
Oh, well, the internet
Wow.
was just invented,
Yeah.
so
So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. All right.
I guess we're going to take a break.
We are. It's our last break, so stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll have closing comments from our guest, Pete Neveretta from UBS. So stay tuned.
Thank you. Well, we're back. This is the Martin County Business Exchange Wednesday night show. McBiz.us is our website, and we are the longest running networking group
True.
in the county. And Pete has been in there from the beginning when we were a one light town, right?
Just about.
Yeah. So this is John Campion, your co-host with Frank Mesapel, world famous at that. And I just always have to get that in. But, we have this great networking group. We try to just get a little plug in for it each week. We have, one of the best of each company. We like to think, primarily we like to have principals of the company because we're the ones who care the most. But we have some companies where they've got some good lieutenants and stuff that they send in. And we do, it's a friendship networking, but we are serious about it's nothing better than giving a great referral. It always makes you feel so good, doesn't it?
True.
And,
Absolutely.
True. It's great. It's a great club, and it's been a great club for myself and my clients that I refer, lots and lots of people to over the years, over lots of years, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So lots of people don't know about that, but what's the website?
McBiz.us.
Yeah.
McBiz?
Right.
McBiz.us. Or you can go to mcb.org.
Yes.
Either one works.
And it lists all the companies there, and
Yes.
they've been in there for a while, so there's some good people there to do some good work.
Right. And you can go to Pete's office on East Ocean, and he's got copies of the book.
I've got a book that has all the names in it and this type of thing. I'll give you one of these things as well.
There you go. Or you can go to John's office over at Monterey, and I'm sure he has copies of the book.
Yeah.
And of course, or you can come to the WSTU studios right here in Stewart, and we've got copies of the book right here as well. So,
Wonderful. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We have them right on top of the Totos. No, it's
Yeah.
anyway, just kidding.
Good reading
we have a good
material,
time.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. That's
Well,
right.
I always enjoy coming in here. This is a good place to be. And it's a nice time. And you guys do a great job.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
we like to
appreciate it.
have a good time, relax.
But when you have quality guests, it's easy, right?
That's right, Pete. You make it easy.
There's a lot of information out there, and you hope that people just listen and take one little piece.
Yeah.
And tuck it away somewhere and then kind of remember it at some time. So it's a good thing.
I hope they're lined up out your door tomorrow.
Oh, listen. No. Hey, we got great coffee.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
important.
Yeah, it's just one of those Keurig things, but it's coffee.
Well,
Yeah, it probably tastes great. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We have 3 coffee makers at our
you
store.
really?
Yeah, because Ken, who works for us, he's the coffee king.
He hogs one just to himself. Is
Yeah,
that?
well, no, he's taught me how to make coffee in his one brewer, but we have one of those Keurigs, and we're when we get our new fancy one, I'll tell you where we got it, how we got it, and it's going to be. My brother works with a company who supplies the coffee makers to McCafe.
Yes.
And they have a unit, a model number that can work at home, and hoping to get that in so we can grind our beans and have the good stuff.
Well, I tell you what,
Grind
some
your
of the
beans.
best coffee I've had on the road while traveling at the most reasonable price you'll ever spend for
Absolutely.
coffee over at McDonald's.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
They have good. Some people don't like it because it's too hot or it has a bitter flavor.
No, I
Some
think
people
it's-
like
I think it's just
Dunkin'. Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't mention all that stuff. I guess we can, but there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
I did it. Yes, I did it, Frank. Sorry. I'm supposed to hit the censor button, right?
Too
Yeah,
late.
exactly.
There's
Throw-
worse things
throw the
I
spoon
could
out
say.
there, right?
There's worse things I've said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why whenever I do it, Pete, I look at Frank and I say, "Can I say it?" And he goes, "Well, you said it." So,
Exactly. It's a little too late. Hey, listen.
We move on.
Yeah, exactly.
so let's finish up with just a couple, maybe some advice you can give the
Yeah,
people and
I
how we
would-
can get them to you. Or
Well,
if
they
they're
can
wondering.
always call me, and at that number that I gave, 772-223-6639. Even if you just want to come in and sit down and just have a conversation about your investments or what your planning is and this type of thing. There's no fee for any of that stuff, in case you're wondering. You just come in and we have a cup of coffee and we talk about where you are and what's going on. I think that's a great thing to do, and because good information is vital in our particular business. With the way things are changing now, I think it's
Phone's
important.
ringing already.
I think it's important, that you get all the best information you can, other than from a TV show or that type of thing, and so on and so forth. Just sit down with someone and just have a conversation and tell them what you think. Or you can tell me what you think. I certainly will tell you what I think.
Well, and Pete is as pleasant as he sounds. He is, he's got the patience of Job, unless you really rub him the wrong way, which I think I only did once. But I learned my lesson, and he's been a good friend and a good confidant, and we share a lot of good stuff in our executive group. So it's
it is.
really been
It's
good to get to know you.
Yeah, mine me too.
And Pete is typical of many of the people in our business group.
And the thing is, you take advantage of that out there. I'm sure you could go into John's office or John's business and ask him something about, his products or somebody else's products. What's the best thing? He's going to give it to you straight.
Yeah.
He's going to tell you what he thinks is the best, and that's what you need to do. So if you need that, whether it's finances or toilets, which sometimes is the same.
Oh, you get you coming and going.
The finances
so,
are going down the toilet.
Yeah,
that's right.
Don't let them do that.
Yeah.
We have a dual flush. So
Exactly.
pick your poison.
One thing I can say, and I'll end with that: don't let what's going on in the so-called political world throw you off base.
Right.
We've gone through lots and lots and lots and lots of different situations here.
Right.
So the way you mitigate risk and that type of thing is just do it with the highest quality you can. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
And if you have a question about that, where my office is, next to Park Pharmacy.
So Pete is the guy to go to, and I think, if people are trying to figure out who should I go to, what do you recommend they do? I mean, other than meeting with him, I guess it's just like anything else.
You have to do that, but also I just like to tell people this: when you meet with a financial person, make sure that he's listening, and that you're saying what you want to say, and you're not being sold anything or offered anything. Just so that he listens to what you're saying, and then at the end of the conversation, if you want to go deeper, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But the nicest thing I could ever say to someone, I was saying that to John this before, nicest thing I could say to you, you're doing great. Have a nice life. I'll see you on the other side. Have a good one.
See you up at the Pearly Gate Bar. And,
exactly.
I drink scotch.
Exactly.
12-year-old.
Exactly. That's a nice thing to say, and it's done it before. It's lots of people have come in and have done some good planning.
Right.
Good planning. I don't know why they started doing it that way, but they were planning for a long period of time.
Well, they had some good people, or they're sensible,
Yeah.
logical.
And, it doesn't have to start out to be a monstrous thing you do. It just starts out small, and you just stay with it,
Yeah.
all the way.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. Just
Well-
it's about discipline, isn't it? Too.
Yeah, a little bit. But, I think most of us have some discipline. You just have to direct it in the right spot.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot of fun having Pete Navarrete from Lighthouse Wealth Management Group, and we really appreciate you tuning in today. And
Yes, thanks, guys.
we'll be back next week. Pete Navarrete with its UBS.
UBS.
And he's over there next to the Park Pharmacy, and you can go in there and have a nice cup of coffee, get this great little brochure. And thanks again, Pete. We'll see you in the hood.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
John Campion and Frank Mesenpel.
Signing off, and we'll be back on Tuesday with a show about nothing on Tuesday, and we'll have some fun, John and I. So look forward to John's show on Tuesday.
Thanks, Frank.
All right.
Good man.
All right.